Most of what it is when you're running for office is really not so much the amount of money you spend, but the ability that you're able to reach out. Something that I did in 2013, the first time that I ran for office in Tawnytown, was to use social media. Social media has a very far reach when you are running for an office. And it allows you in a lot of ways to be able to communicate with people in a very direct level, to communicate with a lot more people than you would in a normal setting. You're going to have to go through a couple of different things. The signs are helpful. The social media, having social media is helpful. Having a website is also helpful. It doesn't have to be anything crazy or fancy, but a place where someone can go, they can see the things that you stand for, the things that you're running on, the things you want to change, and to learn a little bit more about you as well. Now, the actual campaigning process itself is very important too. Again, it requires some time, and it's going to require a little bit of money, not tens of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars, but probably a couple $100s. And when you are running for office, you are going to want to make sure that you attend events and functions. You're going to want to make sure that you go door to door as well. You're going to want to make sure that any time that somebody stops you to talk to you or is interested in talking to you, you want to make sure to give them a couple of minutes to hear about what they have to say and to introduce yourself as well. You want to know people on a personal level as well, because people want to understand that they have that kind of direct access to you that they may not have in the way of a senator or a congressman or even president of the United States. And it is a challenge, and it can be a little difficult. I mean, you're never going to be able to respond to every single question. You're never going to be able to respond to every single email, but the attempt to try to do as much as you can is going to matter. So something I always call, or look back on, I call the Santorum rule. So back in 2008, Rick Santorum, who was running for the Republican nomination for President of the United States, where he attended an event for his campaign where one person showed up. And people in the media mocked him relentlessly that he had one person who showed up to this event. Because one person shows up to the event doesn't make that person unimportant. They're worth as much as an event full of 100 people or 1,000 people. And Rick Santorum ended up winning the Iowa caucuses by about 36 or 37 votes. And when I ran for city council in Tawnytown, I had a couple of signs I put up. A lot of them were homemade signs. When I ran for city council, I spoke to as many people as humanly possible. And that very first election that I ran, there were 3 city council seats that were open. I was able to win the 3rd seat by about 37 votes. Now, the campaign season itself in the municipalities and the towns is relatively pretty short. Usually it's only a couple of months, and it's primarily in the spring. And so in that time, getting a couple of signs up, going door to door, that's really important, going door to door. Because again, you're able to speak to people one-on-one. And of course, going to town events and functions. And then typically most towns have a forum where people will gather to listen to what you and the other candidates have to say. And I was reelected 2 more times after that. And you really are able to make a serious difference. And again, if you are concerned about the campaign and the actual running for office, don't hesitate to reach out to other people who've done it before to get a better sense of it. And I think I probably had maybe 15 or 20 yard signs printed up. And so it's not a question of having a plethora of these signs. It's about having a couple of them and putting them in the right place. Most of what it is when you're running for office is really not so much the amount of money you spend, but the ability that you're able to reach out.